The result was that in a stunningly short period of time, 4 months, which is usually nothing, he went out and he told me in the last week, John, I want to kind of avoid using jiu-jitsu. Like I could just walk out and tackle this guy and submit him, and that's not going to do anything for me. And I really admired that. I thought, here's a guy who's thinking long term. He's thinking not about winning this fight, but about developing as an athlete. And that's exactly what he did. He went out and think about the difficulty of the task. It's hard enough to go out and do your first local show, an amateur show, with your buddies watching in some smoker joint in New Jersey. You go out and you fight, and there's 20 people in the audience. Even that's tough. He went out to a foreign country against a guy with proven knockout power in one of the biggest sports organizations in the world, with very big expectations. People had major expectations for him, and went out and fought with essentially the skills. He didn't use any of the submission skills that he's used for a decade. He used essentially the skills that he'd learned in 4 months, and only those skills. And he looked incredibly impressive. I think if anyone who knew neither athlete just watched it and said, man, this guy's been doing this for a long time, and they would never guess that he'd been doing it for 4 months.
So no disappointment that he didn't get a submission or anything?
On the contrary, the opposite. I think if he had gotten a submission, that would have been the easy route, and it would have been the route which didn't really prove anything. People would just expect that. I think there was a sense in which he was right to say, let me show what I can do, let me develop as an athlete. Would I always encourage him to do that? Of course not. I think it's always a mistake for athletes to get away from their strongest points. But in Garry's case, this is also about development time. He's got 2 years to develop as an athlete, and then once he's got to a point where he says, okay, I've achieved some satisfactory level of development, now I can start to employ my particular game, Garry Tonon's game, upon my opponents. But initially, he's got to become a mixed martial artist. That's his first task. That's the first year or two of development.